Hi everyone, it is April 1st, April Fool's Day 2015, and this is episode 13 of the Serenova Crafts podcast. I'm your host Jessica, and let's get going. I'm actually because it's April Fool's, and I'm just gonna say this straight up, and there's the cat. Yes, hi Koki. She's been clingy the last few days. Say hi to everyone. Say hi. See, say hi. Look at that belly. She's all spotted. Yeah. Okay. Cat's not happy. Anyways, as I was saying about April Fool's Day, I actually hate April Fool's Day. I scare easily. I startle easily. It's very hard for me to tell when people are joking. My ability to tell whether you're joking or not is completely dependent on how well I know you. Because if I don't know you real well, there's no way I can read you. And so this day is like the bane of my existence because I can never tell if anyone is joking or not. And like what Ravelry did was cool. Ravelry put funny hats on everyone. And actually, I will show you my funny hat because I got the Dr. Seuss hat. You know, like the cat in the hat? Yeah, I got that one, which that's cool. Like Ravelry, that's fine because I knew it was coming because you've done it for like 3 years now. But like I deliberately asked Kevin not to pull a joke on me or anything today because 10 to 1 I'd probably end up in tears. Because like I said, I don't take jokes well. So this day is the bane of my existence. But I will say this, it is Fred and George Weasley's birthday. So happy birthday to them. I'm not sure how old they'd actually be. They were born in the late 70s. So they'd be in their 30s. No, they'd be more than that. 80s, 90s. Yeah, they'd be somewhere in their mid 30s at this point. I mean, yes, I know they're fictional characters, but their birthday's April Fool's Day. They're the Jokers of the, Harry Potter universe. So whatever, right? So let me show you my funny hat on Ravelry. A bunch of people got funny hats. But, I can only zoom in that much. Okay. But here is my funny hat. Yay, funny hat. So that is that. That's the only, April Fool's Day thing I'm cool with. Because I knew it was coming, and that's not really something mean, it's just something cute. But I just, for some reason, I don't handle practical jokes well. I never have, I probably never will, because at this point, if I haven't grown out of it, I don't think I'm going to. Yeah. Anyways, down to business. Let me pull up my notes here. So first things first, if you don't actually read my blog, you won't know that I finished my hitchhiker, and here it is. It is wider than my arms are, so I will lean back so you can try to see the whole thing. See, here's one end. I can get it in camera because I'm trying to hold it up. All the way to the other end. Now, this pattern, if you don't know, is supposed to have 42 points because it is a reference to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Now, this shawl, because I had 2 skeins of this yarn, is in fact 55 points. And I had this much left over. This is 20 grams left over. Actually, that color's coming up really good. This is 20 grams of 100 ravens. That's the dyer, is 100 ravens. Iakos, which is the yarn, in the Starry Night colorway. I adore this yarn. And I absolutely adore Kate, who's the dyer of this yarn. And actually, on April 27th, let me check the calendar. No, 24th, excuse me. On April 24th, Kate is doing a trunk show at my local store. Yay, I'm happy. Because Kate's awesome. Kate's just totally awesome. So, I finished the hitchhiker. I folded it up all nicely. But yay, I finished it. And it pooled really interestingly. I actually had made another hitchhiker as a sample for Kate, the dyer from 100 Ravens, and I'll put her link in my show notes. Out of her alpha, no, not alpha, that's her lace. Out of another of her bases that was actually a DK weight. I'm pulling up the project on Ravelry, which is why I'm looking down, because iPad. And that she absolutely loved it, and she loves having it as a sample, and I got paid to make it, so I'm not complaining. It was in Acer. Acer is the yarn, which is actually a DK if I remember properly. And an Acer, by the way, is spelled A-E-S-I-R. Yeah, DK. Okay. And I'm going to pull up the picture on Ravelry because I am no longer in possession of this shawl, so I only have the Ravelry picture. But it was really cool because it formed this like eye with the yellow, the way it pooled. Here, see? Look at that. It came out really good, and she uses it as a sample in her booth when she goes to shows and stuff, and it's really cool. So, yeah. Finished object, yay! More yarn stuff. I still have the giveaway. I am pulling the winner 1 week from today, so that will be April 8th. Excuse me, I'm trying not to burp. I am going to close the thread at 8 a.m., so make sure you get your entries in before then. As I said in the thread, you must be a member of the group, no chatter, and you need to tell me what you think you might make with the yarn. This doesn't have to be concrete plans. Just, oh, I think this would be a pretty shawl. Or, oh, I think this would be a really cool cowl. Or, hey, I have this other random thing in mind that I can't even think of right now. I mean, you could make a crochet doily out of it for all I care. But I want someone who's going to appreciate the yarn to have it, so I figured I'd run the contest instead of just selling it randomly. I mean, yeah, I could just sell it randomly on Ravelry, but I'm doing the contest instead. I thought it would be a cute little thing to do, because I wasn't going to use the yarn, so, you know, not the end of the world there. But yes, you have 1 week to get that in. The yarn is in the other room, so I'm not going to bother going to get it. You've already seen it. It's in my stash. It's in my projects for a frog project, way at the bottom. You guys have seen it, so I'm not going to show it to you guys again. And I haven't caked it yet, but whoever wins the yarn, I will cake that third cake back up, so it's not like this weird Saturn cake. The yarn will be in pretty condition. I'll even skein it back up for you if you want. I do have a Swift. But next week, 1 week from today, Wednesday, April 8th, I will close the thread at 8 a.m., draw the winner, and announce it on the podcast. And like I said last week, if it's someone I know in person, I'm not going to bother shipping it to you. I'll just hand it to you. Because 2 people I know in person from my town have entered to win this. Hi, Joyce. Hi, Heather. I hope you guys don't mind me mentioning you on the podcast. But if one of you guys win, I'll just give it to you. But if anybody else wins, I'm totally willing to mail it to you. It's not an issue. And don't worry, I'm not going to play favorites. I'm going to use a random number generator between 2 and however many threads there are, because my post is the first one in the thread. So post 2 through whatever, because I don't know how far it's going to go. We're at like 8 right now. So 2 through 8 are eligible for the drawing. I am eliminating myself because obviously I own the yarn. I'm the one giving it away. Why do I want to win it myself, right? So I'll use a random number generator. Whoever gets it, gets it. End of story. But, next to sock business, I was checking my notes. I have my April bag. Now, it is April 1st, which means I'm drawing my yarn, and I figured I would just draw it on the podcast instead of, like, getting up early, shooting this video, and then editing it in when I'm already going to record a podcast anyways. But I had to wait, like, an extra hour to record the podcast because Kevin didn't tell me he was going to start the dishwasher, and he started it before I could do anything. So I had to wait until the dishwasher finished because the dishwasher's right, like, back there in our kitchen because that's our kitchen. That black square is our kitchen, right? And I like filming out here much better than filming in our second bedroom where my first few episodes were filmed because I get more natural light and I'm actually facing our sliding door and the lighting's a lot more even and, like, half my face isn't in shadow and all that good stuff. So I like recording out here, but I had to wait until the dishwasher finished. But anyways, April bag. As I drop it, that's real. I dropped the bag. Let's see what it is. And yes, I used duct tape to hold these shut because Kevin has God knows how much duct tape. Ooh, I got nice stuff. This is going to be plain vanilla socks with a fish lips casquille because I made myself a note. And this is Shuffle Yarns Crazy Zauberball. Woohoo! It's gonna focus. Yes. in the color is 2082. Charisma. That's what it is. Charisma. 2082. Charisma. There's lots of purples and blacks in it. It reminds me of Halloween. Completely wrong month for that, right? So, now, I caked all of these up when I put them in the bag. So they've been sitting in cakes for a while now. But here it is. You can see there's pinks and purples and a lot of black in there. Let me show you the butt end of it. There we go. That's a little bit better. There you can kind of see the purples and stuff in it. So these will be interesting. They're probably not going to match, but this is my April yarn. Yay! And I got the bag already. And yes, it's a 100 Ravens bag. By the way, here's her logo. 100 Ravens. There you go. Have some free advertising, Kate. And I have my needles. These are size 1 Haya Sharps, 40 inches. And my stitch marker in the bag, ready to go. So I will now put the yarn in the bag, and I will cast on when I'm done recording. Because I'm not going to try to cast, I'm not going to try to do a toe-up cast on the podcast. That's just not going to work. I might knit stockinette on the podcast at some point, but I'm not going to try to do a toe-up cast on the podcast. And there we go. April socks, ahoy! Let's see. So last week I was talking about the pie shawl, and I had the book and I showed you guys about it. And I kind of fell down on Ravelry. Someone had 5 skeins of Lorna Lace's sock in the same dye lot in B stripe for $45. So, and Lorna Lace's isn't cheap. So to get 5 skeins for that price was actually like really good. So here it is, B stripe. The darker color is actually a little more brown than black, but I like it. And the yellow is a nice yellow. So this is going to become a pie shawl. And I will probably cast on sometime in the next few days, because now that I have the yarn. It actually came on Monday, but I didn't want to, well, I could have cast on because I could have wound a ball without, but pie shawl. And the recommended needle size is something. I don't know. It doesn't say recommended needle size, but I'm probably going to use a 1 or a 2 on this, because I do have ones, just, Koki. Her claw caught in my shawl and pulled it. I do have plenty of, sorry, I'm looking at my phone trying to do math here. I have plenty of yardage, because they're 215 yards a piece times 5, so I have 1,075 yards, which will make a decent sized pie shawl. I actually might do it on 3s. That would give it a more airy fabric. I'll have to decide what needle size. I'll have to do a few swatches, see how it knits up, because I actually have never used Lorna's. I have 2 hanks of Lorna Laces in stash, and I've never used it. But I have almost 1,100 yards of it. I also got the pattern to start another sweater, so that's probably gonna I'm probably gonna have starteritis next week when I see you guys. I'll probably have like 3 projects started. But you know, but the Lorna Laces is gorgeous. The other big thing is that on April 12th, which is a week from Easter, I am going to be the proud owner of a spinning wheel. Again, if you didn't read the blog, you didn't see the post, but I am going to be the owner of an Ashford Joy double treadle. And somebody had it up for sale on Ravelry. Here it is. It's only a year old, but she wasn't using it anymore because she has a toddler and she just wasn't spinning a lot. It comes with the carry bag because it is a portable wheel. So it comes with the carry bag, which is great. And here's a picture of it all folded up. Now these are from Elizabeth, who's the woman I'm buying it for. These are from her Ravelry listing for it. Because I found it in the for sale or trade D-stash section on Ravelry. And it actually comes with all the paperwork, like all the instructions and stuff that originally came with. Like, it's all there. So I am going to be the proud owner of a travel wheel, which is really good because in an apartment, you don't have much space. But also, because she's in Vermont and I'm in New Hampshire, and we actually only live about 2 hours apart, I am going to pick it up from her. We're going to meet about somewhere halfway in between us, and we're going to meet and exchange. I'm going to give her the money. She's going to give me the wheel. And so she actually knocked a little bit off the price for shipping because there's no shipping. And it's actually cheaper in gas than it was in shipping to go get the wheel. So I'm happy. I'm really happy about that. I get a spinning wheel. And yes, I'm probably going to still drop spindle and stuff, but I'm just like so happy about this wheel, especially because buying it used from someone, A, it's already broken in. B, it's far cheaper than I could ever afford to get like brand new. And C, my tax refund should be in by then. So I'll actually have the cash to give it. Not that I don't actually have the cash right now, but pulling it from my tax refund instead of my savings would be nice. And then I can just shove, because my plan is I'm going to take what I need for the wheel out of my tax refund and then just shove the rest in the savings. I have a little bit of money on a credit card, but that's like just from buying gas and stuff because I'm trying to build my credit because as like a recent college grad, I don't have much of a credit score. So I might pay off that, but it's just like, it's not much. It's like, it's less than $200. So it's not like that's a lot of credit card debt. It's nothing. But so finally the last thing, I'm actually moving through this pretty quickly. I'm only at like 16 minutes. This is going to be a short one today. Partially because I'm talking fast, but also I just don't have a lot to talk about this week. But the main thing is so I mentioned last week putting a list of blogs and podcasts I follow on my blog. That page is up. And it's a separate page. It's not my homepage. So now I have my homepage. I have my about page. I have my Learn to Knit page, which is like a link to like videos and stuff. If you're interested in learning to knit, really simple stuff. And then I have my blogs and podcast page. And I have a list of all the blogs I follow and all the podcasts I follow. Well, actually, not all the blogs, because I limited it to my knitting and crafting blogs when I listed the blogs. Because there are a few other ones. I follow some webcomics, but I know they're not to everyone's taste. And so those I didn't put up. But because my blog is a crafting blog, I put up all the crafting bloggers I follow. I mean, and some of them are pretty famous. I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone knows who the Yarn Harlot is at this point. And I do follow her. And actually, I'm rereading her old post, her back catalog, because I thought it would just be interesting to go and reread her back catalog of posts. Because I've only been following her for about 3 or 4 years now. So everything before that is a complete mystery to me, right? And there's things she mentions, like in her books and in podcasts, and not podcasts, and blog posts, that I'm a little like, huh? Did I miss something here? So she started writing it in 2004, and I am now into July of 2005. So I'm getting there, right? So that's interesting. And I did put that up. I didn't make an announcement or anything. It just kind of went live on Monday. But if you're interested, you can go to my blog, which is myknittinglife.wordpress.com. For those of you watching on YouTube and not on my blog, because I know I have YouTube followers now. Yay, thank you. I actually got like 3 or 4 new followers this week, so thank you for following me. Yay. It really makes me happy when people follow me because then I know that people are actually watching me and I'm not just talking to my camera in my living room, which is kind of what I'm doing right now, is talking to my camera in my living room. So thank you for the follows. I really appreciate it. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you can go to my blog. And there will be a link to the show notes for this, but at the top of the page, you'll see the page that says blogs and podcasts. And you can just click on that, and it'll show you the list of crafting blogs I follow and the podcasts I follow. Now, for the podcast, I included all of them. At least I think I did. I might need to double check the list. Even though 2 of them aren't crafting related. But they're really, actually, well, one of them isn't crafting related. And that's Startalk Radio, which is hosted by astrophysicist Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson, because he's just awesome. He hosted the new version of Cosmos, which, by the way, is really cool. And I have seen, even though it's older than I am, I have seen the original Cosmos. And not just in school. I watched it of my own volition for fun. Not just because I saw it in school. But the new Cosmos was really fun. I made Kevin watch it with me every Sunday night when it was on. That's actually like the only time I've watched Fox, because I normally don't watch Fox at all, but it was on Fox, so I was watching it. But he hosts a podcast, and, well, it's actually a radio show, and if you're in the New York City area, you can just listen to it. But I don't live close enough to get the actual FM signal from New York because I'm 2 states away. And the signal doesn't travel that far. So I listen to it after the fact online. But it's really fun. He usually has a comedian, usually Chuck Nice or what's the woman? I can't remember the woman's name, but Chuck Nice, who's a stand-up comedian, normally has him. A lot of times he's been having Bill Nye the Science Guy on a lot, which is really cool from my perspective because I love Bill Nye the Science Guy. I grew up with him because Bill Nye is apparently now living in New York City. And so Tyson is having him on a lot to co-host, and they had a recent interview with Richard Dawkins, which was really cool. He's the British guy that narrates all the wildlife stuff that the BBC does, and he did a live thing with people about water and the science of water at a theater in New York, and they put that up as a 2-parter, and it's just a really cool podcast, and I love listening to it, and you'll be entertained and learn something at the same time, so hey, you can't go wrong. And the other podcast, which isn't a crafting podcast in the terms of like sewing, quilting, crochet, whatever, but it's still entitled The Adam Savage Project. And for those of you that don't know who Adam Savage is, he is one of the Mythbusters. It was him and Jamie Heineman that first started the show back in 2000. The pilot came out in 2002. And their first season was in 2003. And I've been watching them since then because I've been fascinated by the show Mythbusters. And then they got Carrie, Tori, and Scotty. And then Scotty left and they got Grant. But now this last season was just Jamie and Adam again. And Adam, for a couple of years now, I actually stopped listening to his podcast for a while and recently picked it back up and listened to the backlog of them. You can either get them audio through iTunes, or you can get them video on the tested.com website, or you can just follow them on YouTube. So I tend to watch the video because you get to see all the really cool stuff in the background because they're in Adam's. It's not really a man cave, but it's a shop. And so you get to see lots of cool stuff in the background all the time, which is fun. And then the last I haven't watched this week's episode yet because it came out yesterday, but in last week's episode, they were talking about driving. And that got me thinking about when I got my own driver's license. And it was funny thinking back on it because here in New Hampshire, and you might find this odd if you're not from New Hampshire, we do not require a learner's permit. When you turn 15 and a half, you are legal to drive in the state. No training, no nothing whatsoever, as long as you have your birth certificate with you in case you get pulled over so you have proof of age. I'm dead serious. There is no primer for driving in this state. You can just get behind the wheel and get on the road. I will say this, though. If you want to get your driver's license at 16, which is the age you can get it at in New Hampshire, it's required that you take driver's ed. But if you don't take driver's ed, you can get your driver's license when you turn 18 no matter what. But your insurance will be sky high if you don't take driver's ed, so it's actually highly encouraged that you take driver's ed. But you don't need to take driver's ed to get your license in this state. Nor do you need to wear a seatbelt if you're over 18. Nor do you need to wear a motorcycle helmet if you're over 18. Nor does your car need to be insured to be on the road in this state. But we do have yearly car inspections. Go figure. I often joke with people that here in New Hampshire, we take our motto, which is live free or die, very seriously. I mean, and there's whole gun control issues. We actually still have the death penalty on the books. I think the last time we killed someone was like the 50s, but still, it's on the books. You can get the death penalty in New Hampshire. It's still a thing. And I think we might be the only New England state that's still, but anyways, we take our motto very seriously. And I found that people think we're slightly crazy. And I will say this, those of us that live in the cities, Nashua, Manchester, Concord, Portsmouth, Keene, can be very different from people that live farther north or farther out that aren't in the more populated areas. There's actually like huge distinctions between parts of New Hampshire, which we're a small state. You would think that wouldn't be the case, but it is. But I got distracted anyways driving. I learned to drive in a car that I could barely see over the dash in because I'm 5'3", which isn't short in the grand scheme of things. Both my grandmothers were 5 foot, so I actually have a few inches on both of my grandmothers. And I'm actually about the height of one of my grandfathers, but my other grandfather was taller than me. But both my parents are taller than me. My dad, not by much. I can actually almost look my dad in the eye these days. But he might be shrinking at this point. But my dad's the one that first taught me to drive when I turned 15 and a half. And he cured me of my fear of highway driving. Now, this was before I turned 16. So remember, the only driving instruction I've had was my dad. Keep that in mind. He cured me of my fear of highway driving by handing me the keys when we were going on vacation once with him, my stepmom, and my half-brother. And we were going up north into the mountains, and it was like a 5-hour drive north because we were almost going into Canada. We were going way up. He's like, you drive. So I drove the main highways up, which there are 3 lanes through town here in the south end of the state. Then they go to 2-lane highways. Then they go to 1-lane highways, and then you're going through like mountain passes. Oh yeah, that cured me of my fear of highway driving. Like, I'm good. I can just drive now, right? But it was just really funny watching because Adam Savage was talking about teaching his sons to drive, and he's got twin sons. So he's teaching them both to drive, and he's teaching them how to drive a stick in San Francisco, which just seems like a bad idea in my opinion. But anyways, it's a really entertaining podcast, and they actually talk about making stuff. But they make like electronic gizmos, and they do kits, but it's making stuff in a more geeky way than like knitting and sewing is. But I still love it, and I still find it really entertaining. So I suggest you go check it out. And I've been rattling on for like 10 minutes about this podcast now, but I really like it. And Startalk Radio. And then I follow, not a podcast, Yarngasm, 90% Knitting. Who am I? Stitch Addiction. I knew I was forgetting someone there. And a couple others that I can't remember off the top of my head because I have them all on a list. Where's my phone? I have them all in an app on my phone, and I just get notifications when they pop up to the update, so forgive me if I don't remember everyone. But they're all on a list on my blog, though I will double check that the list is correct. And, yeah, it's something I really enjoy. I really like listening to podcasts, and because I work from home, I can just put them on during the day. So that's that. I'll stop talking about blogs and podcasts. There's a list on my blog, end of story. The last thing I want to talk to you folks about has absolutely nothing to do with crafting or blogging. But I've started a side job on top of my regular job that I'm working right now, as a consultant for Jamberry Nails. Now, Jamberry, if you don't know what they are, is a company that sells nail wraps. So they're like a pre-made manicure that is like a sticky you put on your nail. So I shall show you my thumb, if I can twist it right. See? See that? That's a wrap on my nail. And that's actually a custom wrap that I designed myself. And yes, it's Fair Isle knitting because I'm just that kind of person. I have some matzah ones for Passover that, excuse me, I need a drink of water, that I've ordered and they just shipped yesterday, so. Fingers crossed they make it here for Friday, hopefully. I mean, the post office isn't that bad because they're just coming U.S. post. But anyways, so as you can see, I have them on all of my fingers. It's going to focus. Come on, camera. There we go. So see, there you go. And you can put different wraps on different fingers. They don't all have to be the same. I'm not showing you my left hand because I have fountain pen ink on my left hand, so I'm not showing you that. But I do now have my own website through them, and if you're interested in the wraps, you can feel free to message me, and I'll put a link to my site, but you can contact me at any time if you have any questions. I'll put my info in the notes down below, and I'll put it at the end too in the credits, so that you can contact me if you want. If you're interested, let me know. We do host parties and stuff, but I'm not really pushing it. This is just like a side thing for me, but if you're interested, hey, you know. And there's a whole bunch of different wraps. You don't have to make custom ones. They're $15 a sheet, and you can get 2 or 3 manicures out of them, which is far cheaper than going to the salons. If you don't like doing your nails, no worries. If you like doing your nails, hey, this might be something you need. And all you need to put them on is a nail file, some scissors, and a hairdryer. And you're done. 20 minutes, you're done. All 10 fingers. There's no drying time, which I like, because when I wear regular polish, it chips, like within like 2 hours of me putting it on, because I'm constantly doing stuff with my fingers. And I've had these on. You can see they still look really good. I mean, there's a couple of dings, but I had to open, you know that clamshell plastic packaging? That'll ruin anyone's manicure, I'm sorry. I had to open some of that, so they got a couple of dings in it. But those are a week and a half. I've had those on for a week and a half. And they're great. So I'll put my contact info in the show notes and in the credits at the end. I'll put my personal, like, Jamberry site on there. If you're interested, feel free to come in, take a look. I'm actually going to start an online party for my blog. But if somebody wants to be the hostess and get rewards, feel free to message me. And I will also add another page to my blog for Jamberry. So, if you're interested, let me know. One last thing before we go. You've probably been wondering what my shirt says. Well, first of all, my shirt is in Hebrew. I don't know if I've worn it before on the podcast. I know I wore my Coca-Cola in Hebrew shirt on the podcast. But this one is from the school I went to. And it reads from right to left. So it says, U, Mas, Lo, L. And the vowels are the dots and the line underneath the mem. So I can actually tell you what the letters are. It's Yud, Vav, Mem, Shin, Lamed, Vav, Aleph, Lamed. Not that that helps, not that you know Hebrew. But Hebrew is actually written with only consonants. So those are all consonants. And the, like the line here and the dot here, that means it's a sh, not a s sound, that dot. This means it's an oo, that's an ah, that's an o sound, and that's an eh sound. And yes, I know I'm like poking myself in the chest, but you know what, I'm wearing the shirt. So it says UMass Lowell on my shirt. So now you know. That's your foreign language lesson for the day there. And I think that's just about it. And don't worry, my blog's not going to be taken over by the nails thing. This was just like a one-time shot. If you're interested, let me know. Totally willing to host online parties. We don't need, it's so, like, if you don't live anywhere near me, that's totally cool. I'll actually put, I don't normally put my Facebook up, but I'll put my Facebook up so you can contact me because we can run Facebook parties. And those Facebook parties can be, you know, for anyone, anywhere. Because it's on the internet, so distance doesn't matter. So if you're interested, you know, just shoot me a line. And as hostess, you can get some pretty cool things. So just let me know, but this is going to be a side business for me, no big deal. I'm not trying to push it too hard, it's just, I just joined, so I figured I'd mention it. And don't worry, there will be plenty of knitting and hopefully some weaving and some sewing next week. And I think that's about it. So have a good week. Have a good Easter. Have a good Passover. I don't think there's any other religious holidays coming up, but if I've missed something, you know, feel free to wish someone a happy whatever. But I know Easter is Sunday, and Passover is on Good Friday. Passover starts Good Friday Eve, so Friday night is when Passover starts at the first Seder. So it'll actually be Passover next week when I see you guys. Maybe I'll have some matzah, and I'll show you some matzah, because it's basically a giant saltine cracker. Yeah. Excuse me. I keep, like, wanting to cough today. I don't know why. But anyways, yeah. I think that's it. So, and remember, I'm pulling the drawing next week. So if you want to enter, make sure you post in the sticky thread in the Ravelry group, which is Serenova Crafts Podcast. See you next week. Bye.